Hey, this is Everyday People, and today we are showcasing the lady herself, the Haba Queen, aka Miss Gobey. Is that what you go by?
Cindy, the Haba Queen, definitely. Whatever you choose. Miss Gobey is all good with me
Miss
too.
Gobey is fine too.
It's too formal though. Let's do Cindy or the Haba Queen. Yeah.
That one is hot like the sauce, eh? Cindy or the Haba Queen.
I bring the fire. Huh? It
Yes.
is Pentecost week. We're all about the fire.
Yes, bring the flames. Yeah, so I think let's start with where you are, and then we'll do a rewind. Like I think I know where you are. Because I look at your sauce, I've eaten all of these sauces. Oh, they're lovely. I've tried them on burgers. I've tried it on, I tried a sausage combo as well. I've been experimenting with it.
Okay.
I tried it on a brisket. What else?
Wow.
A pork chop. And then I normally do, when the tikka comes with the sweet chili.
Yes.
So I substituted day one for this Thai sweet chili. Oh, top combination. So, yeah, maybe tell us about where your business is at the moment, and then tell us about where it all began.
Okay, so before I get to that, everything that you've tried is elementary. When you start cooking with these sauces and adding them into your own sauces, your own marinades, pairing them up in that way, it's a little bit different. That's when you go now to a deeper level. So what you've done, yes, it is sauces, it is condiments, but I made a very versatile product. And most of them, well, I'd say all of them very concentrated because I'm coming from that chef point and I like to cook. So a lot of my clients also use the sauces for different applications in their cooking. So it's not just about having it on that burger or that sandwich or on the side and dipping your chips in, but actually incorporating it, adding that flavor into the actual dish that you're using. That's when you've hit another level.
So I need to level up now.
Yes. Hashtag level up.
Level up the fire. Because the level of heat is like up there, right?
Yes. So, okay. So where I'm at now is, I know it looks good. It's giving that Woolies University look, yes. So we've got that on lock. But now it's a matter of going through the right paperwork and channels to get it out there to a wider market. Initially, it was, I believe, in word of mouth marketing. So it was definitely getting out to as many people as possible, having it in every home that I knew first. You got to start with what you know. So the people you know, it works good with, and then let the word of mouth spread through. So my thing is not to get any bad reviews. One bad review can have a ripple effect. So I've gone to the extent of even delivering for customers without charging even a delivery fee, just to make sure that they get it. I have also gone fully blown on marketing, social media marketing, as far as I could. I would say in the last 2 weeks I've slowed down a little bit, simply because I've been trying to uplift the other business that I've just started. And juggling being a single mom and running a household as well. And the biggest part of it all, my relationship with God. That's the fire flame to everything, I would say. This business definitely for me is God sent. And if I take or remove that element out, I don't think any of this would work. So yes, that's where I'm at currently, is trying to just maintain what I've begun for this year with Haba Queen, and then obviously take it a step further, get it into retail, get it working on a more professional level. I am a very organized person, and I thrive on working strategically. However, I can say sometimes the wagon falls off a little bit.
Yeah.
It's hectic trying to keep so many hats on at the same time. I don't have the luxury of taking one off to put the other one on.
Yes.
So I'm mothering, I'm hubbering, I'm printing, I'm also churching at the same time. It's a lot. But I thank God for grace, because it's only by His grace that I'm able to do this.
I like what you said there. That you're mothering and you're hovering. It's like you're keeping your fire going, both in your cooking and in your living.
Hey.
I like that. It sounds like a punchline. That if while you're mothering, you're also hovering, keeping your fire in your food and in your heart.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, as a marketing, I was doing, well, I actually just finished my 1 year marketing course, sorry. And what you mentioned is so important. So I have some advice for you. What you mentioned is important. Having a brand relationship is one of the biggest deal breakers. Like you see some of these, like a cheap sauce. Well, they like using them in the food outlets. I don't even mention the name. That's how cheap it is. and you find that people will opt for maybe a medium to higher price product because of quality, and then you build a brand relationship, knowing that when we think Haba Queen, we know a little bit of your story. I saw you post it on the socials. You're giving us a real story about who you are. And then when we eat your products, like now I need to learn how to cook now. When I eat your products, the product quality remains consistent. So your brand relationship on my side, I'm happy. So also some other advice I'm thinking, because sometimes when I'm going to work, it's not all the time. If I have this East Coast radio on, there's often times that they have where they're reaching out to businesses and they give assistance to businesses. So I'm thinking, what if there's just someone out there? Because if this business was built on faith, and this is real faith there, you can actually touch and see a thing. This is faith in action. So you must know that you're already putting your faith forward. So I'm saying, let's see if we can take it another level. Because even if we're not listening in, surely those people who are behind the idea of supporting and pushing local businesses can make it happen.
This is what we say.
No,
mothering
this is life.
and harboring and everything at the same time. So, funny you talk about East Coast Radio. In faith, about a month and a half ago, I sent a package to East Coast Radio.
Wow!
Funny enough, it came from an older friend of mine that said, "Hey man, she saw all the TikToks from different influencers, and she was like, send something to East Coast Radio. I'm sure something will come about it."
Yeah.
And it honestly wasn't something that crossed my mind. So I was like, that's such a good idea. Thank you. And I took it regardless of how it came across. I wasn't bothered by the tone that was used. I was more interested in the value of what was said.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, I like to look for the good in everything. So yes, so I sent a package to East Coast Radio, and as I was booking the courier, I was trying to figure out any one of their names because I needed to put a name on. And so the only person that came to mind was Sky Shabalala. So I put his name on it, and I sent it. And when it was delivered, obviously I got a message. And so I called to check, did he get the package? He wasn't in that day. I called a few days later. I've been calling. He did receive the package. He was in Joburg for a few weeks. He said he'll get it when he gets back. He got back. Now, this is the thing. He got back, he took the package home. There was a note, a handwritten note in it.
Yeah.
And that was accompanied by an email as well, explaining the exact same thing about where I am, what my business is about, the fact that I'm a small business. As much as I'm sending it to them for them to enjoy as a team, it was also for... in the hopes that they would post something about me. Because, I mean, even Debonair's Pizzas sends them pizzas and they mention it on air. So I was like, a small business getting mentioned on air, that would really just boost me in the right direction. Unfortunately, nothing to date. No response. I've tried multiple times on social media to contact him, and I just get the seen icon. He's seen my messages, but hasn't said anything. But I've released it, and I've said, I'll take the loss. I know you did enjoy my sauces. I have faith and confidence like that.
Yes.
Because, like you say, every batch of my sauces has been consistent throughout.
Yes.
That's a huge thing for me, consistency. And so with every batch of sauce, each sauce that I make, I physically tasted myself. I usually I usually experiment and try it with something new so that I could add it onto my socials and people know, because a lot of the questions that come in is that what can I use the sauces for? And any review that I get or comment that I get from my customers, I would go back to them and say, can you put it in a review, or are you okay with me posting this? So that other people can see, and then they can explore. I believe that food is my love language. It's how I spread love to the people that I care about. Absolutely. And I don't just eat to live. I love to eat. I love to eat. Good food is a must. And I'm never going to give someone else something that I wouldn't eat myself. So I pour my heart and soul into my food. And that's where the sauces come from.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. Yeah. So, as I said, let's do a small rewind. So, before the Haba Queen, it's always good to know, like, what were you doing before that?
Okay.
And where did your love for food come from?
So, at the age of 7, I already knew I wanted to be a chef. My mom is a really good cook. Her mom and dad were good cooks. I started cooking at 7. The first thing I made was baked beans. And then that's the only thing I made for a few weeks. We lived in a 2-bedroom flat in what we call here Ghost Town. And my mother would come back from work and sit and watch soapies, Days of Our Lives, Bold and the Beautiful. And she'd shout to the kitchen, which wasn't that far. And she'd be like, okay, the oil, okay, put the onions in, now put some curry powder, or put in the baked beans. And that's how I learned to cook. And I would watch.
So you've been cooking on audio instructions. So you're good at following instructions.
And then I did home economics at school. That was one of the main subjects for me. And business. Business was very interesting for me. I had a really, really good business teacher, Mr. Green, Ellie Green. He's now turned lawyer, or attorney, I'm not sure what it is. And then I decided to study food. I wanted to take it a step further from the legacy or the generations that have come before me in my family, and I took it to a whole new professional level. I believe that every generation should level up in every aspect of that family. So in education, in spirit as well. with God. We gotta take it a step further. If we want our kids to have the best, we have to lead by example. So it's got to be that way. And so I studied to be a chef. The funny thing is, it was a 2-year course, and after your first year, we needed to go for a work experience for 6 months. Now, this was a 2-year course, like I said, so they had split the class up into 2 parts, and I fell into the pastry instead of the hot kitchen for the first year. So that's all your desserts, your breads, your baking.
I've eaten your pastries. Wow.
Yes, so I've qualified in that, and I had a really good chef, Chef Eric Beroulier. He's actually the head chef of Chateau Ghetto, by the way, now. Yes, so we had lots of fights because I knew, like you said, to follow instructions. So I had a recipe in front of me, and I would follow that. But he wanted us to go step by step for what he said.
He wanted you to go by the book.
By the book, and exactly what he's saying. So I was a little bit impatient there because I knew how to follow a recipe, and that's where we'd get into such arguments. But other than that, I think I was really disciplined, and I did really well. I found out a few years later, once I paid up that 1 year's fees, that I actually came second in the class.
Wow.
And I didn't know about that. I got a few distinctions as well. I decided to go overseas for my industry experience, and please go. Yes. So, hey, this mothering thing. Yes, everything. And so I went overseas, and I was there for a cultural exchange program, and the chef that I had was amazing. Chef Richard.
So you were cooking that side as well.
Yes. So I was in a hot kitchen there, and they also used me a lot for desserts. I did everything from, it was a resort, Casa Marina. It's part of the Waldorf Astoria collection of resorts in Key West. It was beautiful. It was an amazing experience. I worked breakfast. I worked lunch. It was extremely hot for lunch on the beach. And once I got to dinner, I stayed there. None of the other females could handle the dinner shift because it brought the heat. But for me, it was just where I needed to be. And after that year, my chef had said that I don't need to actually go back and study further.
Wow.
I have the basis, so I just carried on running with it.
So the basis were in you.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think let's maybe just cover a little bit about your ministry.
Okay.
And then I think from my point of view, because I know you for some time, but I feel like I'm really getting to know you, not just for vocation, but you as a person. Wow. So you've always been one who shines and expresses your heart in everything. I mean, even just going overseas and cancelling the whole program after that with determination and that internal fire. So the fire's coming for a while now. Yeah, because earlier on you did say that you're balancing being a single parent, being a business owner, well, 2 business owners now, and ministry. I want to hear a bit about that. Yeah, tell us about it.
So, I've always had a hunger for the things of God. Always, from a very young age. My family, my parents never really went to church. So I would go with whoever I could. My older cousin lived with us for a while. One of your very good friends is now a pastor. And I would go with him. I would go with absolutely anybody just to be in the house of God. I knew I had this pull. I had this unction within me, And I did get saved at a very young age. I was a teenager. But the big thing for me there is that I had the support within the walls of the church.
Yes, yes.
But as my foot stepped out, I had no idea where God was in my life, which I believe led me astray. I'm not going to blame it on anything. They say own up for it. So yes, it was me, but it was me being ignorant of the things of God and not understanding, where I could have had guidance for that.
Yes.
And then becoming a mother is what completely changed the game for me. I was actually sitting with my friends and having a cider with my kids playing around me, where it hit me, and I was like, is this really what I want to show them?
So it was a spiritual conviction.
It was. It absolutely was. And I drove home 2:00 in that morning. That morning with my kids in the car, after having drinks, and that's what convicted me. Is this really the life that I want for my kids? And that instantly changed. After that, I began to try and draw closer to God. And then, especially after falling pregnant with my daughter, my second baby, I received a prophecy that it didn't shock me, but it confirmed what was said by the gynae. I've never met this prophet before, and it was my first time being in a meeting, a service with him, and he called me out and he asked me, what did the doctor say? And so I looked at him. The doctor said that if I have a very big decision to make, and if I don't make the right decision, I will give birth to a stillborn baby, simply put.
Gosh.
And the decision was to cut out everything else and focus on my relationship with God. And within a month, I picked up all the pregnancy weights I needed. I was focusing more on God. I was able to pray myself out of depression and anxiety. And I kept that little box of anti-anxiety and antidepressants on the microwave, and every time I walked past it, I was reminded to pray. So instead of I tried it, and I had every side effect possible, and my son at the time was breastfeeding, and he had those side effects.
Oh my goodness.
He had insomnia at 1:00 in the morning, holding his head and screaming. My child was exhausted but couldn't sleep. And that's when I decided I'm not taking these tablets again. They did nothing for me. They did absolutely nothing for me. They made the situation worse. So I kept the box, a full box of tablets, as a reminder throughout my pregnancy that God is going to get me through this.
And also evidence of what God can do.
Yes, because faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen, which I truly believe. And so I kept looking at that, and every time I saw that box, I prayed. I prayed. And when I came home from the hospital after having my healthy, beautiful baby girl.
Healthy.
I threw that box away. And I felt so free, so free. And if I might just add, that's a few months later, while on maternity, that's when Haba Queen came into action.
So the Haba Queen brought the
Yes, you could say that. I was on maternity, and I was not even a year within my job. So company policy was that you don't receive any compensation whilst on maternity if you're not working for the company more than a year. So I had no source of income. But I had been making habanero hot sauce because I love the flavor. And that goes back to when I was in the States. That was the first time I tasted a habanero hot sauce from a cute little Mexican corner takeaway. And that flavor was so distinct, I couldn't forget it. But when I thought about it as I was making the sauce the one day, I realized that my granny used to cook with habaneros.
Wow.
She loved habanero chilies, and there was this distinct flavor in my granny's food that I could never get, even following her
The
recipes,
secret code.
until it came to me. And I was like, it's the habaneros. It's the habaneros and that flavor. And I have this kind of palate that I would go to a place, out, eat whatever,
Yeah.
and from eating and tasting, I could pick out the different flavors of the different ingredients. And then I would come back home and try and make that dish again.
Wow.
And then once perfected, I would do my own twist on it. So I remember I went to Circus and in Gateway, and I had a pasta. It was a bacon and chicken pasta, creamy pasta, and it had basil pesto in it, and I loved it. And so I came home and I tried to make it. I tried it a few times until I got every single flavor that I tasted in that dish. And then I started building on that.
So would you say, so I think AI can't actually copy that.
No.
Your palate, you got built in senses.
Definitely.
No one can copy that.
So at, I think, 3 months of maternity, or 2.5 months, I started making just the habanero sauce.
Yeah, so it's a lot of products.
Yes. So I made just the habanero sauce, and I was selling it in plastic tubs for 25 Rand. And I had so much support from that for the rest of my maternity and a month after going back to work, habanero hot sauce paid my rent.
Wow, it paid your rent.
It paid my rent. And it helped me out to get back to a stable financial, what can I say, a financial strength. And I couldn't stop. And I kid you not, the blender I was using was one of those little ones like this. It was that small. It was a stick blender, but it had the multi-purpose thing. So I was blending with that. And then I'd blend it in this little thing, batch by batch, put it back in the pot, use a stick blender, blend it until I get the consistency I want. And then I started working on it. Then I was like, okay, hey, let me get some glass bottles. I don't believe in plastic. I absolutely hate
plastic.
Yes, and the chemicals in the plastic, and it absorbs the flavors and the different tastes and all of that. The science behind it all. I wasn't okay with plastic. I got the glass bottles and I started selling that. And then everyone was like, this is too hot for me. I love the flavor. I love the sauce, but it's too hot. And I was like, yes, habanero chilies. Habanero chilies are not your normal everyday chilies. Yes. They are hundreds and hundreds of the heat content that you get in normal everyday chilies. I've explained that in one of my videos as well. And so I made a milder version, which is the habanese.
Yes.
I know that's one of your favorites now.
It's not so haba.
So the not so haba is a chili paste.
Okay.
It's made from mainly red Thai chilies, but with habaneros in it for that fruity flavor.
Okay.
And the name play is because that it's not so haba, it's not so hot like the habanero hot sauce, but it still gives you a bit of that heat, and it's got the haba flavor in it, so the not so haba. And this is a chili paste. I grew up on chili paste. My mother makes her own. And that's where a lot of the heat came from. We eat a lot of pickles, hot sauces, chili paste. So that's where the not so haba came from. And it was a good addition to the range. And then I went about 2 years with the 3 products.
Yes.
And I remember the January of 2023, I was blending a batch, and as I finished, I watched the blades break off this little blender.
testing your faith.
Hey, so that got me, and I couldn't make any sauce. And then all of the money that I had made, I needed to use in the house. So I was out of capital, I was out of equipment, I couldn't do anything. And then I was at work, and one of our suppliers, hello Haba community.
I want her to say a scripture for me.
Okay, first tell me Proverbs 3 verse 5.
Proverbs 3 verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding.
Wow, give me a high five.
Okay, so I was not making sauce. Okay, so I spoke, I met one of our suppliers, and with me, every conversation will lead to God, because my life is a testimony.
Hallelujah.
And we started speaking about God. Now, he wasn't so much into the things of God, but spoke on the lines of the universe. But said that he does believe in a higher power in God. So I was like, yes, I believe in God. Jesus Christ is my savior. And he started speaking about the way we speak. And speaking positivity and speaking blessings over your own life.
Yes.
And he spoke about his own life. He shared a little bit of his testimony, and he said, don't take my word for it, test it yourself. He said, write down a few dreams or goals that you have. I said, okay, prayers. And he was like, yes, write down a few prayers and put it up where you're going to see it first thing in the morning and where you're going to see it the last thing at night. And for the next 6 months, speak over that.
Yes.
And so I did that. I wrote down 4 prayers, and I gave God due dates.
Hey, putting that.
Yeah, that is now. He's supposed to have his own timing for things. We know his timing is not our timing, but I gave him due dates. And one of the big ones was for Haba Queen to be back in action by the last day of April, and Staylet was coming up. The first Staylet I was part of with a market. And by the last day of April, I had made my first batch and sold my first bottle from that batch. And it came to pass, which answered another prayer on the list, which that was one of my best markets. And I'd almost completely sold out that day. And I managed to make enough money to pay my son's application fee for the school that he goes to, which answered a new prayer, which was, well, not a new prayer, a second prayer on the list, which was to for him to attend that school.
And that is that school. If you
know.
It's
a Christian school. It's a private school. And I had no idea how I would pay for it. So that was the first step where Haba Queen came in with the application fee.
Wow.
And by the end, by August that year, this was May, by August that year, I started a new job. I was headhunted for this job in a completely different industry. I had no idea what it was all about, but I was selected out of qualified people with the qualifications from that industry for that job. And if that was not God, then I don't know what is.
Carrying the favor.
I'm telling you.
Flavor and favor.
And the job was really good. Financially, it was a level up. And I can see your mouth is watering. We're going to have lunch after this. So it helped me to gain a really good financial standing, and I managed to pay off a lot of the debt that I had by God's leading, because he gave me instructions. He actually told me how to pay off these accounts, which is crazy. And but I followed that. I didn't live above my means, or like now I have a new job, I've got more money, this is how we're going to live. But I stayed where I was, and the extra money was getting pumped into those accounts one by one. and I was getting paid up letters. And so out of 5 accounts, currently, I'm sitting with 1 account left.
1, wow.
Yes. And mind you, it's a year and a half since I started that job. And I paid up 5 accounts. 4 accounts out of the 5. And so the job, I absolutely loved it. I also had a lot more time to spend with God.
Yes.
I had my own office this time after sharing an office with 20 people.
20 people.
20 people, one desk had 3 people. It was hectic. And then I was blessed with my own office. Sure, I had scriptures on the walls. I had pictures of my kids. I could spend time with God the whole day while I worked when I was in the office. I ended up having to drive all the way to Pinetown, which was a schlep, but at the same time, it was my power hour.
So you got to pray all the way.
I got to pray, I got to cry, I got to scream, I got to fight, I got to call a lot.
Yes.
That call encouraging, you know. You have no idea what speaking does, because sharing your testimony or just sharing the word that you heard on Sunday with someone else, it reminds you and encourages you again.
Definitely.
And it carries you through that week. So it was lovely. I absolutely enjoyed the job. That drive now meant something to me.
Yes.
Spending time with God. And the thing about it is that the more I got invested into this job and the financial backing of it, the more I was like, I don't really need to make sauce, because now I had this money.
So was it killing you?
And I didn't have time to make the sauce. And now we had a little bit of extra money. So on a Saturday, it was my day to take my kids out. So I didn't have much time at home. The week was too busy. The Saturday was for spending time with my kids, and Sunday was church. So there was no time to make sauce, and I didn't need the money. So at the time, so when I did, I'd make sauce, and it got slower and slower to the point where I wasn't making sauce anymore. And that's when the trouble started. That's when the trouble started at work. And I came up with a few issues, and I'm not going to get into that because I don't know what the legal side of things are, but the short story of it is I lost my job in December last year. And
so it's like what, 5 months ago?
Yes. Yes, in December. And I honestly felt like I was going back into a depression. But then in January, I was praying and I was spending some time with God, and I got the revelation that you prayed for this business. And what came in the way of this business? With this business came ministry, because this was God sent. This business was God sent. And the people that I got to meet and encourage with my walk with this business was part of my ministry and my testimony. And what took me away from that? The job. The money of the job.
Yes.
So what happened? God pulled that job away.
It's amazing how He works.
I'm telling you. And, you know, that was such a huge revelation for me, and it gave me the push I needed to push back into Haba Queen. And that's when the rebrand came around. And the new bottle labels, an actual logo this time, from just having different bottle labels to having an actual logo that made everything uniform. I pulled on my marketing skills, my branding skills, my canvas skills, definitely.
Yes,
and I leveled up as well. I'm on Canva Pro now. And all of my marketing came from me. And so the whole rebrand was mine. And you never know who you're inspiring in your walk.
Yes.
And a very well-known photographer in our city that's doing really, really well, TJC, Trey, he called me up and he was like, I'm so inspired by the amount of effort you're putting in your business, and I'm all about community upliftment and helping small businesses, and I'd love to do a product shoot for you. And I was like, wow, I was blown away. And so we arranged it and he came through and he set up this whole professional studio in my driveway outside.
Wow.
But what he didn't know, that I was packing inside. I cooked a whole lot of dishes to go along with the sauces. It wasn't just showcasing the product, but showcasing the different applications of the product. And together we came up with some really, really good pictures for the sauce, which really helped. And then another blessing came in as well, where a friend of mine was telling his cousin about my business and my hot sauces, and they decided to offer me a free website.
Wow. You got a free
Yes.
you got a website
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
Because I'm on the socials, I think I've been watching what's happening on that side. Like I tried doing a website for my little business, but they're so expensive. Like to know that your blessing is extending from what we can taste in our mouths to what we can see online and I know TJC, top quality. I've seen those pictures of like you paid a couple grands there. I didn't want to get into your pocket. Now knowing you have a website even makes this blessing of what God is doing in your life so much bigger than we can imagine. And I think it's because a lot of us put a cap on God. We say, okay, God can do so much, then we close it. Then God can do so much. And I honestly believe that He's still going to do so much more. I was chatting to someone not so long ago about, the cheap food they sell, that Karanichas.
Yes.
And when I heard from an older guy who's been around for a while, I believe they started just like how you started. A man who's from the local community looking at a way, because they had been, I don't know if you say they ran away or deported or what was the reason that they came to South Africa. But a normal person from the community who was trying to make little quick meals that they would eat at home, just like you. Your love was passed down through generations of the hot sauce. Like I was saying to my wife the other day, why do the grannies never ever write down that secret fire that they put in there? And I hope one day when you become a granny, you're going to write that thing down.
Well, what my pastor says is that some things are taught and some things are caught.
That is fire. That is fire.
Yeah.
Some things are caught. Yeah, so I think let's wrap it up. Like from my side, I'm excited to know the whole you, the entrepreneur, the ambitious young lady that grew up with me, to see what you do and to see your faith. Watching your faith has been the most interesting part for me.
If I can just add, you are very influential in that. And I share this everywhere I go. But when I started this walk with God again, about it's three and a half years ago, but it was in the first year, and you had said to me, you are on fire for God and you are running. But my sister, let me tell you, you are running and there's going to be a time where it's going to go silent. And when that time comes, I think you are at the maturity and you are at the level to do what you know. You said to me, don't stop running, even when it goes completely silent. Keep doing what you know. Keep praying, keep praising, keep worshiping, keep reminding yourself, keep in the word, keep doing what you're doing. And if you quieten everything around you, all the chaos, when it looks like everything's going wrong, if you just quieten your mind around you'll start to see God in the little things. And He'll remind you that He's there. Just like the teacher is silent during their test or exam, they walk in those aisles, but they're quiet. You'll start to see Him in everything. And He'll remind you that He's still there. And I've carried that with me. And ever so often, after climbing one mountain, and I get to the next, and it gets silent with this chaos around me, I'm reminded of that.
Wow. You actually reminding me. I spend so much time seeking new oil and trying to have a new thing to share, that you're reminding me of what the core is, the core ingredient that kept me going. And I didn't just give you that for you. That's what kept me. That's what kept me. And I'm so emotional just hearing that. I'm supposed to be doing this for other people. But this is like it's for me now. What you're sharing is for me. Because there were times in these same 3 years, there were times where I felt like I can't keep going. And I couldn't understand what's keeping me going. And there you just reminded me that I had the key ingredients which I gave to you. And now you're giving it right back to me. Yeah, I'm very blessed. And I feel like whoever's watching, you're never too old and you're never too young. That's what I believe. And if you're putting all your eggs in one basket, they say that in the market world. Don't put your eggs in one basket. I want to change that belief system. And so if ever you're putting all your eggs in one basket, make sure that the Lord Himself is holding that basket, because that basket is surely going to yield success. And whoever watches this, I want to just say thank you for taking the time, and I am so grateful for you, Haba Mama, Haba Queen, for giving me your time of day. And if there's someone watching who has the power to push our people to reach that international, I'm not going local, girl.
Yes.
To reach that international level, I want to see Haba sources and the whole Haba range in Australia. I want to see it in New Zealand. I want you to even go further to the UK. I want to see it on the islands. We want us to go to every continent. That's what we're declaring today, because we have faith like that.
Yes.
And if you're local and you have the ability to expand this brand, I know you're going through the legalities. Once all the legal registration is done, I believe that people out there can give you that opportunity, just like that other source. I don't even mention it, I don't like the way it tastes. I won't touch it again. But I see those everywhere. I see it in Spar. I see it in many of the outlets, as bad as it is. Let's get good quality sauce in the stores. Are there any last words from your side?
Thank you so much for your time and for doing this for me and with me.
Yes.
I hope I've inspired and encouraged everyone. Remember that I'm a single mother doing this at the age of 35. And if I can, what more can you do? So please follow, please spread the word, please like my page. If you don't have the financial means to support me and taste it for yourself, it's all good. It's highly understandable. But it costs $0 to repost, to share, to like.
Yes.
And social media is taking over now. So if you could help me boost mine, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, and we'll have all the links. You just click the links in the description, push them out, share them as many times as you can.
Just search Haba Queen and it will come up anyway.
God bless.